I cannot tell you how much this movie delighted me. Hi, I'm Brian ROWE, this is the awards contender, and in today's video, I'm reviewing Greta Gerwig's Barbie. So this is a movie I've been excited to see for like years now. I mean, when was this project announced? I want to say it was 2021. They shot it in 2022. And it's just been one of those films that I thought, could this be good? Like, could a movie about Barbie be good? I think in the hands of the wrong director, the wrong screenwriters, a poorly chosen cast, like this film could have been a train wreck. Watching it yesterday, I was just like, how did this movie turn out to be so great? I loved this movie. I was so smitten with this thing from minute one. That opening homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey is really funny and clever, and then things just start rocking and rolling. Like the opening 20 minutes, I just had a smile on my face the whole time. The costume design, the production design, the cinematography, the look is incredible. Margot Robbie is perfectly cast as Barbie. Like, I don't know who else could have played this role. I remember there was talk years ago of like Amy Schumer playing the role, and I don't know what that version of this movie would have looked like. But this version, with Margot Robbie as Barbie, she inhabits that character to such a degree that you can't imagine anyone else playing her. And then she's surrounded by this spectacular cast of actors who all know the tone they're supposed to be playing. They know the movie that they're in. I was struck by how all of these actors, no one's going too over the top, but no one's playing it like too low, too serious. Like they're all at the right level. Greta Gerwig manages like the seemingly impossible by making Barbie Land seem like a real place. It's not just like plastic people that have no personality. Like you really get a sense of who these characters are, especially Ken, played by Ryan Gosling. What a dynamite comedic performance he gives in this. Like just out of this world, great. I had seen a few things online that he had a song, like a musical number, but I avoided it. I really did try to avoid everything to do with this movie. I had seen like 2 trailers, but I had watched nothing else, no clips. So I was vaguely aware that Ryan Gosling has a musical number here, but I was not prepared. I was I have loved him for so many years, going all the way back to the early 2000s. Like I've always been a huge Ryan Gosling fan. And if you love him, this movie is just sublime. Like he is just giving 110% in this, like just going for it. And he is so funny. I loved everything he brought to this character. His moments of confusion, his moments of rage, and where his character goes in the second half. It's just really funny and interesting, and I really enjoyed him in this. Another great addition to this cast is America Ferrera, whose character lives in the real world and then goes on this adventure with Barbie. Like, she is fantastic in this. I loved all the shades to her character, and she gets this monologue in like the second act of the movie that brings the house down. Like when I woke up this morning, the scene I thought about first was her monologue scene. It's so unexpected, and it goes on so much longer than you expect it to. And it's funny and real and applause worthy, and she delivers it perfectly. Like it's a great, great scene. One of the great scenes we'll get in any movie of 2023. Again, I love this cast. There are so many standouts. Issa Rae is great. Will Ferrell is hysterical. Like, I haven't seen Will Ferrell be in a long while. I can't even remember the last time I saw Will Ferrell in a movie. If it's been a while. One of the funniest things in the movie is Emerald Fennell as pregnant Barbie. Like, that was just amazing. Michael Cera gets a hilarious role. He's only in like little bits and pieces throughout the movie, but he makes the most of every moment, and he made me laugh as well. And Rhea Perlman gets a chance to shine in this movie. Like, what was the last film she was in? Like, it's been a while. Like, the last Rhea Perlman performance I remember loving was in Matilda back in 1996. I haven't seen her in much lately. She gets some dramatic moments in this movie that work really well. I was so happy to see her again. Again, the design of this movie blew me away, especially the home of Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon. Like, her house, her estate, is mind-blowing. It's so colorful and bizarre, and it perfectly suits her character and where she's come from. And it was just really exciting to be that dazzled in a movie by costume design, by production design. I was just like, this is so outlandishly incredible. We don't get this kind of thing in movies. Usually in a big fantastical movie like this, you just find yourself looking at a lot of CGI, and you know it's CGI. Whereas in Barbie, of course not everything was there on the day in the camera frame, but it feels like it is. There is a tangible quality to what you see in this movie that I appreciated. Everything in Barbie Land feels like it's actually there, and that was awesome. So I love the design, I love the cast, it's very funny, it's very sharp. What I loved the most about Barbie was its inventive screenplay. This is a great screenplay that deserves an Oscar nomination. I was kind of thinking I knew where the movie was going. I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be a fish out of water story for probably most of the second act, maybe even into the third act. And so for about 30 minutes, you're like, okay, I have kind of a sense of what this movie's going to be. Ha 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 ha, Barbie's in the real world and Ken's in the real world. How are they going to deal with this? It's a trope we've seen in 100 other movies. And that's okay because we've got great humor, a great cast. We have Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling riffing off each other. Whenever they're on screen together, oh, this movie's so much fun. Like, they are fantastic together in this. But what stunned me and delighted me in this screenplay was how we quickly move away from that fish out of water story and shift into something completely unexpected. Like, what happens in the second hour of this movie, I was like, oh, okay, this is what the film's about now. Oh, now we're gonna do this. And I love that in a movie. A movie like Barbie that could have played it completely safe, that could have just given us a middle-of-the-road story that was kind of funny, kind of amusing. That's not what Greta Gerwig has in mind here. She was like, no, we're gonna make this movie really epic, great, and we're going to talk about real issues. We're gonna take this Mattel property, we're gonna take Barbie and explore themes of death, of consumerism, of exploitation, of gender wars. Like, this movie is not interested in just keeping things light and funny and there's nothing else going on. Like, Greta Gerwig is commenting on a lot of important issues that come up in our lives today in this seemingly like family-friendly summer comedy. Like, there's a lot more going on here. It goes to some dark places. The third act is filled with much more serious scenes than it is with funny scenes, and I appreciated that. Again, it was kind of unexpected. I mean, obviously her debut feature Lady Bird, my favorite film of 2017, is very funny, but also deeply moving, especially at the end. And so Greta Gerwig was not going to make just some nothing movie. Like, she was going to take this property and do something with it, do something personal that you wouldn't have expected in a movie called Barbie. The very clever screenplay allows Barbie to be so much more than just funny entertainment that you forget about as soon as you walk out of the theater. I feel like I'm going to be thinking about Barbie for a long time. This is not just some throwaway movie. This is a piece of art that is going to last. And it was kind of a thrill watching it yesterday, thinking like, wow, I already know, like halfway through, I'm like, I'm gonna be watching this movie a lot for the rest of my life. Like, it reminded me of when I was watching The Devil Wears Prada for the first time, when I was watching Bridesmaids for the first time, like some of these movies that open in the summer that on the day you're watching and you're like, oh, this is going to be a favorite. Like, I could see watching Barbie once a year for the rest of my life. It's just so beautiful to look at, and it's funny. It has one scene after another that pops. There are no lulls. There's not like a 10-minute section where I'm like, this could have been shortened or taken out. Like, the movie's about 110 minutes. That's a good running time for this. I think 90 minutes would have been too short. I think 2 hours 10, 2 hours 20 would have been too long. I think Gerwig finds just the right running time for this movie. With everything she wanted to explore, 110 minutes is perfect. Now, I did learn a valuable lesson this month in that don't give your Oscar predictions for a movie you haven't seen yet. Like, I did a little bit of that last year, and it didn't feel right. In the early parts of July, I thought, well, it'd be fun to make a video just kind of like looking at what do I think Barbie and Oppenheimer will get nominated for. And even 2 weeks ago, I was like, no matter how good this film is, it's called Barbie. I just was like, it's not going to get into the top categories. Having seen the movie, knowing just how great it is, knowing it's going to be this big blockbuster of the summer, they're already saying it could reach like 160 million this weekend or more. Like, I feel like Barbie now has a shot to get into Best Picture and Best Adapted Screenplay, potentially Best Supporting Actor for Ryan Gosling. Like, the Academy doesn't recognize comedic performances very much. I feel like every few years we get one, and that's always a big win. I mean, I just love it when comedic performances are recognized by the Academy. I do think if they wanted to give this movie one acting nomination, a lot of people are going to pick Ryan Gosling as Ken. It's a glorious comedic performance. His last two nominations were for mostly dramatic performances in Half Nelson and La La Land. This would be a very different performance from him to get in, but I would also love to see America Ferrera get some Oscar buzz for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, that one monologue scene is spectacular. And I'm watching this like, this actress is so talented, so gifted. I feel like she hasn't gotten a lot of chances to show her stuff in a movie, and this is it. Like, this is great. And I think that's like the wild card performance from this movie that could get some buzz at the end of the year. Like, we'll see. I would love for Ferrera to get in, would be really cool. But for me, I believe Margot Robbie deserves a Best Actress nomination for playing Barbie. She is the glue that holds this entire movie together. Any flaws in her performance, this movie completely crumbles. It all hangs on the Margot Robbie performance, and she is dynamite in this movie. She is not just playing smiley, happy, beautiful Barbie. It's so exciting to see her physical and emotional transformation as she learns more about herself, about the real world, about how she has affected others. I was so impressed by Robbie's performance in Babylon a few months ago, a movie I like more than others. And then here in Barbie, like, she is just on fire. Every choice she makes in this film, I was so impressed by. Her comedy chops, her emotion, like, she just plays everything in this movie. Margot Robbie for Best Actress. I mean, I don't know if Gerwig gets into Best Director. Adapted Screenplay, I feel like, should be a sure thing. This is a script that deserves to be nominated at the Oscars. And then I think costume design and production design are worthy of a win, let alone a nomination. Like, those two categories, Barbie will be fighting it out. And this is just a fantastic movie. It wowed me. I can't wait to see it again. I mean, I have almost no criticisms of this film. Like, I was thinking this morning, like, what did I not like about Barbie? And it took me a while to even think of a couple things. Like, I'm hoping I warm up to it more on a second viewing, a third viewing. The last scene didn't really work for me. I felt like it brought up a lot of logistical questions, like about Barbie and the world. And then I felt like the last line is a good one, but I don't know if it was the Robbie delivery or the quick cut to credits. There was something off. It just didn't quite work for me. It wasn't sticking the landing for this amazing movie that I expected. I don't know, but maybe that'll change when I watch it again. There is one section of the movie where Barbie disappears for a while. There is a reason for her disappearance, so I get it. But we do get a big chunk of this film about Ken for a while. And as much as I loved it, I loved the musical number and it's very fun. I like how Greta Gerwig plays with shifts in POV in this movie. It's not all just from Barbie's perspective. I liked that. But there is a chunk of Barbie for 15 minutes or more where we don't see Robbie, and that felt a little weird to me. And then the one other thing, I guess it could be like a little funnier. I didn't laugh out loud as much as I expected. Like, I'm smiling through most of the movie, lots of chuckles. There aren't a lot of like huge laugh out loud moments, so I guess that's like a tiny little quibble I have. I mean, I would say the biggest laugh in the whole movie is an aside from Helen Mirren as the narrator saying something that breaks the fourth wall. That is so hysterical. I was just like, who came up with that? Was that in the screenplay? But so yeah, there's that. I guess I could have laughed a little more. It's not a laugh riot like Bridesmaids. There's not a scene in this movie where you're like uproariously laughing out loud, but that's okay. It's not that kind of a movie. And I don't know why I would have expected it to be that. Overall, I was so impressed with this movie. I was delighted. I was so happy. I was like, please be good, movie. I believed in Greta Gerwig. What a great, creatively daring, awesome choice to direct this movie. I don't know what this would have looked like by another director. I don't think it's as good. I think Gerwig was the person to make this movie as fantastic as it could have possibly been. I don't think there's one other filmmaker who could have upped her in what she managed to do here. Like the way that she directs actors, the pacing of the film, the look of the film, it's just dazzling to the eyes. It's funny, it's witty, it's sharp. Have I mentioned this movie's great? Have I said that yet? Is it clear to you yet that I really love this movie? I'm going to be watching this film time and time again. Go see it in the theater. Go see it twice. It's just one of those movies. It is one of the best films of 2023 easily. It's going to get lots of Oscar nominations. I think it could get into Best Picture. I give Barbie a very enthusiastic 9 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Barbie? Did you love it like I did? Was there anything that you thought didn't work in the movie? Do you think it's going to get lots of Oscar nominations? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.